Hello, Internet. There's a topic that I haven't really spent much time on, I think only just very briefly in passing. But it's something that I felt like I wanted to share with you guys and maybe even especially with others who may stumble across this video, people that I don't even know. And that is the subject or the topic of having an ileostomy and having an ostomy appliance, or basically it's a bag that's attached to my abdomen. As most of you know, I had a total colectomy back on January the 19th. So that's been 9.5 months ago. And, when I went into that surgery, it was one of the low points of my experience during the last year of having stage 4 colon cancer. In the build up to that surgery, which was about a week or a little more than a week, I was developing a blockage, an obstruction, a bowel obstruction. And it happened gradually over the period of a week. And, I took laxatives and my oncology team was suggesting different things to try to relieve the symptoms and get things moving, but it just got worse and worse. And and that is actually what ended up opening the door and getting me down to Mayo Clinic, because I don't want to go into that whole story again because I think I have talked about it a little bit before, but I ended up at Mayo. An excellent gastrointestinal surgeon named Dr. Shawkey, and they got me right in after an ambulance ride from up here in the Twin Cities down to Mayo on a very cold and snowy January evening. Initially, it looked like they were going to be able to do a bowel resection, a large intestine resection, which means basically going in and taking out perhaps 12 to 18 inches of my colon. But when I woke up from that surgery, the very first thing that I was told right when I was coming to awareness was, "We took it all." And it's hard to express how that feels when you're told that your entire colon has been removed. And so what happens when they do that, some of you who may not know, the small intestine becomes the main digestive instrument and the main gastrointestinal organ. So what they did was they constructed an ileostomy. That means that the bottom of my small intestine, which used to drain into the colon or the large intestine, now comes out of my abdomen on the right side. It's kind of the middle of my stomach or just abdominal area, kind of to the right. Sorry, did I say left? I meant to the right, kind of to the right side. And I had no idea how developed the ostomy industry is. There are several different companies, Hollister, Coloplast, and others who have been doing this for a long time, and they create the appliances that are necessary to aid that process of having your waste be exterminated, evacuated, whatever the right word is, into basically what is a plastic bag that is attached to my abdomen by adhesive. So, I really haven't talked a lot about that. I think it's because, it's just kind of embarrassing, and I think there's a stigma related to a lot of things. I've learned going through colon cancer the last year, there's so many things about colon cancer, bowel cancer, things that have to do with, the elimination of waste from your body that some people just don't want to talk about. I find that other people are like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's be honest. Let's be real about it. But I think it's uncomfortable, and it's one of those things, again, it's kind of stigmatized. A lot of people would just rather not go there in conversation. But I just feel like it's good for me, and maybe it's good for some of you to hear about this. Maybe you've known people who've got this experience. Maybe it will happen to you one day. But the point being, I have a Hollister ostomy appliance attached to the right side of my abdomen. The ileostomy, which is the end of the small intestine, protrudes through my abdominal wall. It's just about maybe, gosh, I don't know, about a half an inch out. And it's maybe about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And ever since the end of January, my waste is eliminated into a plastic appliance or pouch. I like to call it a pouch. To me, that's what it is. Some people just say a bag, but to me, it's kind of like a pouch. It needs, under normal circumstances, it needs to be emptied in a 24-hour period, probably 6 or 7 times. Usually I can make it through most of the night. If I empty it before I go to bed, then usually I can make it till 4:30 or 5 in the morning, sometimes all the way till 6. I'm an early riser anyway. And then during the day, I would say it's probably pretty much an average of every 3 to 4 hours I will empty. The pouch should be emptied when it gets to be only about 1/3 full, and that's just because of the weight of the waste. It needs to be emptied out. The bag itself, these are disposable pouches. Fortunately, my insurance company provides the appliances and accessories and all that. And every month I get a delivery. Hollister, again, is the brand. And I get bags, adhesives, different other accessories to help me with that changing process. Because what I do, this is the general recommendation, is that you change these bags about once every 4 days. Some people, twice a week, so that means every 3 or 4 days. I've gotten into a habit or a pattern, routine, where I change it every 4 days. So that means a little less than twice a week. And that seems to work well for me. The reason that you change it is because there's a little filter in there that keeps the bag from bloating up like a balloon. And after 3 or 4 days, that filter starts to wear out. And so you get more ballooning of that bag, which makes it a little more awkward and inconvenient. So anyway, I realized I really hadn't talked much about that. It's one of the byproducts. It's one of the lifestyle changes that I have had to deal with since my cancer, since having to confront colon cancer. And, the thing about it is, I've told quite a few people this, it has not been a big deal for me. Again, I think having an ostomy is something that freaks people out. It's, like I said, I think there's a stigma attached to that. It was for me. I mean, before this happened to me, I thought that was very odd and strange, and oh my gosh, how terrible, how awful to have to deal with something like that. But I have to say, the technology, the supplies, the materials, the science of ostomy appliances has come a long way, and it's very convenient, and it's really not that big of a deal. Honestly, I think I've made peace with it, and it's become so much a part of my lifestyle and my routine. It is not very difficult for me. And, to be very, very honest, it has made life simpler in some ways. I never feel bloated. How many of you deal with diarrhea or constipation? How many of us deal with that when we have normal plumbing down there? I never have those issues. I have been very fortunate in that my small intestine has adapted very well to this new reality, and I never feel bloated. The consistency of my output, can range from very liquidy, very thin fluid, all the way up to a thicker output, more like paste. Again, maybe this is TMI for some of you, but I'm just giving you the scoops. So the consistency can vary, but I have never had a blockage or an obstruction or anything like that. It's really worked out well for me, and I have in these 9.5, almost 10 months, I would have to say that I've adjusted well to that, and I'm very, very thankful. So this is a little bit of a different type of video, and again, maybe for some people it's something that you don't want to hear or don't want to watch, but I also think that there's some people out there who either find it very interesting, informative, educational, but also maybe encouraging for you or someone that you know who is going through having to deal with an ileostomy, ostomy situation. So that's my video for today. Thank you again, as always, for following along, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.